All right, every single year, governments release this one document that literally has the power to change millions of lives, steer the future of the country, and even make or break entire industries. We are, of course, talking about the government budget. And yeah, it might look like a totally overwhelming sea of numbers, but trust me, there's a fascinating story in there, and today we're going to find it. I mean, really think about it for a second. How does a country manage its cash? You've got armies to pay for, roads to build, schools to fund. The list is endless. So, where on earth does all that money come from, and who gets to decide where it all goes? Well, that's the big question we're diving into today. So, how do you even begin to wrap your head around something so massive? Well, the easiest way is to connect it to something we all deal with. We're going to take a peek inside a nation's wallet, and you'll see that when you boil it down, it's actually not all that different from your own. Okay, look at this. On one side, you've got your own budget, right? Your income is probably your salary. Your expenses are all the usual suspects: rent, groceries, bills. Now let's look at the nation's budget. The government's income, which they call revenue, that mostly comes from things like taxes. And its expenses, or expenditure, go to these huge categories like defense, healthcare, and welfare. See? At the end of the day, it's the same basic idea. Money comes in and money goes out. That whole money in, money out thing sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But, and this is a big but, imagine your personal to-do list included things like, protecting an entire country and building thousands of miles of roads. This is where it stops being so simple and turns into this incredible high-stakes balancing act. And this isn't just some abstract list of chores. These are the core jobs that shape our everyday lives. We're talking about the soldiers protecting the borders, the police keeping things safe, the parks we hang out in, the safety nets that catch people when they fall on hard times. All of it. Every single thing costs a ton of money, and they're all fighting for a slice of the very same pie. And right there, we've hit the fundamental challenge of all of economics, really. It doesn't matter if you're a person or an entire country. Just like you can't buy every single thing you want, a government doesn't have a bottomless pit of money. It has to make some seriously tough choices because its resources are, in fact, limited. So, faced with this massive problem, endless wants but not so endless cash, what does the government do? It has to come up with a game plan. And that game plan has a name: the budget. So, here's the official textbook definition. A budget is basically the government's detailed proposal for the year ahead. It lays out an estimate for every dollar it plans to spend, and this is the really important part, how it's going to raise the money to pay for everything. You can think of it as the nation's financial roadmap for the next 12 months. Now, this is where a budget becomes way more than just a spreadsheet. Someone once called it a powerful policy instrument, and that's exactly what it is. It's the main tool a government uses to actually steer the country, to show what it truly cares about, and to actively try and shape the economy for all of us. Okay, so if it's not just about balancing the books, what are the real big picture goals here? I mean, why go through this incredibly complicated process every single year? Let's get into its true purpose. The budget really has three main jobs to do. First up, reallocating resources. This is all about choices. Should we put more money into space exploration or into new hospitals? The budget is what moves the money to what the government decides are the top priorities. Second, there's redistributing income. Through tools like taxes and social spending, the budget can try to make the distribution of wealth a little bit fairer. And third, stabilizing the economy. If things are sluggish, the budget can pump in spending to boost growth. If things are getting too hot, it can pull back. It's kind of like the government's hand on the economic thermostat. So when you put all that together, its role as a game plan, as a policy tool, and as an economic stabilizer, what do you actually get? You get the single most important report on a nation's financial health and its future plans, all rolled into one. Seriously, think about it. Every way the government makes money, from income taxes to import fees, and every single thing it spends money on, from defense contracts to park benches, it's all laid out in this one document. That's why it is, without a doubt, the most complete picture we get of a government's finances. It's really the ultimate annual report card for the entire country. And that really leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to end on. If a budget is, at its core, a statement of a country's priorities, then all the arguments and debates about it, they're really a debate about who we are and who we want to be. It forces all of us to ask that big question: what really matters most?